So we have an employee class. In that employee class, we have employee ID, employee number, name, phone number, right? And yesterday I told, right? So yesterday I told you about this setter and getter method, right? So what is the use of this setter and getter methods, right? So set employee ID, get employee ID, set employee name, get employee name. Next is set phone number, get phone number, right? Okay, can you send me that? Okay, Google Classroom link I got, right? Okay, I'll upload today. So I'll upload today. Sure then. Yeah, I'm just all right then. So everyone understood what is the use of this set method and get method, right? So what the encapsulation does set and get and everything, right? Right. So now we'll create one more class, new class, department. We'll class one more class called department. And here what we'll have now? We'll have now department ID, department name. Okay, and then we'll just generate setters and getters. Again, right click on this, click on source, right click on this, click on source. So generate getters and setters. So click on generate. Right? So we have department ID, we have department name. So this is the class department. And so now what we'll have is now similar to this, we'll have XML file, how we have done for the other things. Okay, just copy paste this and change this accordingly. Source, main, new folder, resources. Next I'll say new file, app context .xml, right? And here I'll say just. So only thing is here we have to change now. What are the beans we have now? What are the objects to be created? Employee and department. Okay. Now in place of share price calculator, now we'll say employee. This is your object reference. Okay. As I told you, like bean ID. And here I'll say Spring Core Demo 2 dot employee. And then here we'll have object reference department, Spring Core Demo 2 department. Okay, so we have employee and department. So these are the classes. Okay. Now what we'll do now? Now from our app.java, we'll just now create the application context. Same way. We'll create the application context and they say context.getBean of just this, give this employee ID, this one. You have to refer with this bean ID. Okay. You have to refer with this bean ID. And what's the type of this class? Type of this bean? Employee, right? Employee.class. Okay. So this is the type, employee type. Okay. And this is the bean ID. And here I'll say employee EMP. Okay. Now I'll just print this employee. Just. I'll print this employee. Similarly, I want to now say department. I'll say context dot get bean of. In my app context, I'll just say this. I'll just say this bean ID, department. Department, I'll say department dot class. Right, department dot class. Okay, now I'll print a department. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just, see, this application context is creating this beans defined in this XML file. See, you can just understand from here. Okay, application context is creating the beans by reading the XML file. Similarly, so app.java is asking application context to get the bean ID employee. Okay, similarly, app.java to give the bean ID or to provide the bean ID or to provide. App.java is asking application context to give the bean ID employee. I mean, it is asking, give me that bean ID. Similarly, app.java is asking application context to give the bean ID department. Okay. Now you see, this is your app.java. Okay, this is your app.java. Right. And so this is your app context.xml. Yesterday I was explaining, right? So whenever this application context is getting created, it is reading this XML file line by line. So this line, first it creates employee bean, another department bean like this. Okay, line by line it reads. Now, so when it says context.getBean of this one, that means it is asked. So that means this bean ID. should refer this one. Next, department should refer this one. So this should refer this, and this should refer this. I mean, should map exactly. So this is the bean ID. With this bean ID only, your Spring will create the bean. Suppose if I change this, suppose instead of department, I use a DEPT. Some name, different name. You know what error it will get? I'll show you. App.java. Now instead of department, yesterday I already explained this. Starting point to ending point. If you see, I already explained this. See, starting point to yesterday I explained this. Starting point, ending point. See, starting point, ending point, I explained this. You want me to explain again? Because if I keep on explaining the same thing again and again, because this itself I explained 2 or 3 times. We cannot move further. That is the reason. This itself I explained 2 or 3 times yesterday only. How many of you understood this? Whatever this flow I explained yesterday. I think most of the yesterday they told everyone understood. Most of the people I got yes, understood. Right? Yeah, I'm seeing more S's. Very good. Yeah. See, that's what I think one candidate has asked to me to explain this, because now if I explain this, because 2 or 3 times I explained this way actually, because I cannot move further. I don't have previous recording videos. You have to check with admin. See, that is the reason. See, don't depend on the recorded videos. You have to actually come to the class, take the notes, whatever I'm telling. That's what. Because I don't have control on the recorded videos. No, that's what you're telling. Right? 2 or 3 times I explained. Now I cannot, because I have to continue further topics. Because this topic itself, yesterday I spent a lot of time on this. Right? See, I see 80% of the students has understood. 80% I see yes. Yes, yes. Right? See, now also I'm explaining. If you understand proper way, now also I'm explaining. I'm not repeating. Again, I'm explaining. End to end, I'm explaining now also. If you understand, if you just listen with concentration, now also I'm explaining repeating the same thing again. I'm taking this program and explaining again. Okay, now also I'm explaining the same thing. Okay. See here, I just gave this like comments also. Right. See, yesterday, if you see, yesterday I explained with this JVM. See in the JVM how the objects are created also in the heap memory with this bean IDs. I can explain now also with this example also I can explain, but follow this, listen carefully. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. See, first, what application context is doing? It is creating the beans by reading this XML file. This is your XML file. Okay. So first it creates this, it will read line by line, first bean. So in your JVM heap memory, so now we have heap memory. In heap memory, now an object, why heap memory? Because all Java objects will be created in heap memory, right? You studied that's in the core Java. So now a bean with the employee ID, bean ID with the employee is created here, right? Okay, bean with a bean ID with employee is created here, right? Now, similarly, the second bean with the department is created here. Now, when I say context.getBean of employee, that means this one. Context.getBean of employee, this one, right? So context.getBean of employee, this one. So this is the bean ID it is asking. This is the bean ID it is asking. It will give that bean. Similarly, when I say context.getBean, when app.java is asking context.getBean of department, that means this bean. So this bean is asking and it is giving back. Now in place of department, it is saying DEPT. What will happen now? There is no bean ID with DEPT, right? This is the bean ID department. This is the bean ID employee. Where is the bean DEPT? Okay, I'll just change this. Now see, you will get an error. See. Now see, you got an error here. No bean named DEPT available. Because you are giving DEPT, but the bean ID got created with the department. How? Because in your XML file, you have given bean ID as department. You have given bean ID as department. So when you say DEPT, it is giving an error like this. No such bean definition exception. No bean name DEPT available. So then what you will do? You will go here and correct it, department. Now when you run this program now you see, I am printing employee object. You got some hash code of this. This is called object hash code. Okay, in memory, every object will have its own ID, and that ID is this hash code. Because you are printing this EMP. Similarly, you are printing DEPT. DEPT, this is your hash code. And this hash code is part of your memory. Okay? It is part of your memory address. Okay? So, fine. Now, let me know in employee class what I'll do. Now we'll create some associations. What is associations? Now I have an employee. And I have a department. Now employee is associated with the department, right? I can have one employee is associated with one department, right? I can give like this. One employee is associated with one department, right? So that means employee should have its property with department. That means employee is having what are the properties? Employee ID, employee name, employee phone number. So these are the properties. So these are the properties. So employee ID, employee name, phone number. Right? Now, along with this, employees associated with the department now, right? So we'll have one more property, which is private department. Okay, D of department. Small letter, okay? Small D. See, these are of type string. This is string, this is string, this is string. But this property is of type department type. So this property is of type department type. Okay, this property is of department type. Okay. Now, if you see here, if I go here and just say private department. So I'll say like this. Okay, private department. Now I'll just generate setters and getters for this. So I have setter and getter for all these properties. I'll just only generate for this property. So right click on this source. So generate getters and setters. Select all and click on generate. So this is also called has a relationship. Okay, employee has a department. Okay, this has a relationship. Now, okay, I have now set department, I have get department. Okay. Now, what I'll do is, now we have employee. Now let me go here. I have an employee. I can set some property values right here. emp dot set employee ID E100 emp dot set employee name Ramesh emp dot set phone number, some number I'll give emp dot set. Okay, department is created here, right? So let me put here. So set department of DEPT. Okay, set department of DEPT. Right? Now this is your department. And I'm setting this department DEPT. Right? Now that means I'm from employee object, I'm setting the department of this department. Okay. I'll give department also here. So DEPT dot set a department ID D100. DEPT dot set a department name. I'll give some IT department. Okay, I'll give department ID as D100 department number. Now that means this. What do you mean by this now? See, department is set like this. Employee is set like this, and the employee is associated with this department. That means from this you can say that Ramesh belongs to IT department, right? So from this is an association we are setting up. Okay, this is an association we are setting. So after setting this association, what we can say? Ramesh belongs to IT department. Okay, Ramesh belongs to IT department. Okay, so emp.set department of DEPT, Ramesh belongs to IT department. Now here, what you are doing here, if you see here, your application context is creating the objects, okay, IOC principle. Your app.java is asking the application context to give the beans. Okay, this is the IOC principle. Okay, this is IOC principle. Now, but this is called dependency injection. If you see, one object is injected in other object. What is one object? DEP. What is other object? DEP. So that means DEPT object injected means passed, is passed or injected to EMP object. How? Through how it is injected? Through set department method. How it is injected? Through set department method. Right? It is injected through set department method. But in the real scenario, you should not do these injections. See, you are not doing the creating the objects, right? This is through IOC. Using IOC, application context is creating the objects and giving it to the application whenever we need context.get bean of this. Okay, now what I say is so when I say Ramesh belongs to IT department means, okay, that means emp.set department. Now what I'm telling is you should not do this emp.set department. You should not do this. So this should be done by Spring only. This should be done by Spring container or application context. And this concept is called dependency injection. So this is called dependency injection. So what is dependency injection? One object injected to other object. Okay. So your application context or Spring container injecting one object to other object through dependency injection. So application context or Spring container injecting one object to other object through dependency injection. So this is called so this is what actually this one. So like that, say for example, in your real-time scenarios, this is only one object. In real-time scenarios, there will be multiple objects. Okay. In the real-time, there will be multiple objects. So one object is injected. One object is injected like this. One object is injected. Just like how department is injected, how a department is injected to employee. So one object is injected like this. One object is injected like this. Okay, this is object one. Object two. Object two. object 3, okay, object 4, okay, like that object 5. Now Spring handles this dependency injection. Spring handles dependency injection. So if you handle means you should call the setter methods like this for every method. Like this, you have to call this dot set of this or this dot set of this. Some you have to call like this. So you should not do. Okay, you should not do. So Spring handles this. So that means don't do here. You comment out. So where I have to do in my app context.xml, I have to define. So how I'll define here, you see here. What I'll do is I'll just say property. So name is equal to, I'll say department. Ref is equal to department. I'll say like this. Okay, I'll say like this. You see here. Now, let me take this XML file now. Let me take this XML file now. And I have now, this is the employee. You have these methods. So I'm just changing this to 12. Okay. Then this is what I'll do is now. This is your application context. So now this XML file, it is reading line by line. Okay. Now, first it will read the bean ID. Now it will create a in your JVM heap memory. This is your heap memory now. In heap memory, now in your heap memory now, employee object is created. Okay. And this is your employee. This is your bean ID. So this is your employee. And next you'll have now department also. By this department is created. Now this is the bean ID department. Okay. Now you see property name of this class. This class. What is a property name? This one, right? This one. Right? This one. So this class, this name should match with this. Now, what it tells me is, for this property name department, ref means refer. This is the bean ID. So this bean ID, so that means, now what is the meaning of this line means? For the property name department, for the property name department of employee class, for the property name department, for the property name department of employee class. Okay. Ref means refer the bean ID department defined in XML. Now it will look for, is there any bean ID with this department, with this name? Yes, there is one bean with this ID. That means this should match here. So both should match. It will refer. Now it will refer with this name. Is there any bean ID with the department? Yes, there is one bean ID. Now what will happen is, if there is a matching bean found, okay, so refer the bean ID department in the XML. Okay. So if the bean is found, then inject this bean. Inject means pass this bean in the department property of employee class. Through setter method. See, generally how we'll pass one object to other object through setter method, right? So just like how we are doing here, DEPT object is passed to employee using this set department. Similarly, Spring, what it will do, your application context, what it will do here, it will take this property name department. That means this name should match with this. Okay. So for this property, refer, ref means refer bean ID with this value. Is there any bean ID with this value? It will search in this XML file. Yes, there is one bean ID with this value, department. Okay. Now inject this bean or pass this bean into this property. Okay, pass this bean. Okay, pass this bean ID. That means this object, the object of this class. So the object of this class, pass it to this property of this employee class. It is as if you see here. DEPT object is passed to the employee of this department property using setter method. The same thing here also. That means this object now is injected here. Okay. Now we'll see now. Now what I'll do, now I'll just say system.out.println EMP, system.out.println DEPT. Then here I'll say system.out.println EMP.get department. So EMP, DEPT, EMP.get department. If I run this program now, see employee, I got one ID. Department, you see, the same ID is coming here also. Whatever department bean is there, so that is injected here. Whatever the department bean is there, so DEPT and EMP.get department, both are same. The same object is passed here. Now we'll do a trick. We'll do a trick now. Here I'll say DEPT. Now what will happen now? You see. Now take this. Now according to this definition, according to this concept, for the property name department of employee class, refer the bean ID DEPT. For this property name department, refer the bean ID DEPT. Refer the bean ID DEPT. Is there any bean ID with this DEPT in this XML? No. No, there is no bean ID with DEPT. There is a bean ID with the department, but there is no bean ID with DEPT. So it will raise exception, or what will happen? Now you see, this might be an interview question. Will it raise an exception? I'll just throw this. Yes, it will raise an exception. Cannot resolve reference to the bean DEPT while setting bean property department. Yes, you got an exception. So this is one interview question they might ask, like, what happens if there is no matching bean ID found? If there is no matching bean ID with ref value. So you'll get this exception. Bean creation exception. Okay, bean creation exception. Okay. Now we'll see one more scenario. Now here I'll say department, fine. Now here I'll say property name as D or DEP, something else. Let me see now. Is employee having the property name DEPT? Employee is having the property name department, not DEPT. Okay, we'll see what error. You see, you got an error, you see. Invalid property DEPT. Invalid property. So that means, suppose you give like this. Suppose you give like this. So you get invalid property DEPT for department, for employee class. Invalid property DEPT for employee class. Everyone understood? Okay. So, fine. Now, what are the ways one object can be injected to other object? Now I have one object, say department only. This object has to be injected to the property of employee object. What are the ways I can do? So one way is department object injected to employee. One way is set method. We call setter method. And another way is constructor. Right? So these are the two ways. One with a setter method and another with a constructor. That means, suppose I have like this. I have now class employee. Now I'll say private department. I'm not writing other properties. So I can now one setter method, public void set department of department. I can have like this, and I'll say this dot department is equal to department. Right? I can say like this. Okay, and then I'll say public department get department. And I can say return department. So I just say like this. Okay, I'll just say this. These are the way. This is one way. So that means if anyone can call this set department and pass this department object. So when I say this dot department equal department, so that object will be set. This is one way. Or another way is class employee. I'll say no private department. Now I'll say public. Okay, public employee. And I'll say department. This is a constructor. I'm writing a constructor now. Okay. I'm writing a constructor. This dot department is equal to department. And then I'll say public department get department. And I'll say return this dot department. Now see, one I'm assigning through constructor. See, through constructor, this is a constructor. In the constructor, I'm passing, see, anyone can call the constructor by passing this department object. And that there it is assigned this property. That means this property, this dot department is assigned to the property passed from the constructor argument. And another one is from the setter method using set department. So where anyone can pass the department object calling this set department and say this dot department equal to department. Right? Everyone understood? Now, whatever we have seen this type, whatever we have seen this type is through setter method. Okay, whatever we are referring like property name equal to ref. So this injection happens through setter method. Okay, so this injection, Spring will do injection through set method, through this method. Okay. So Spring will do through this method. Now there is one more way to do through constructor. how we will tell to Spring to do constructor? Suppose if I have constructor like this. Suppose let me create one more project. Okay, I'll create as many projects. Okay, I need. So what I'll do is, so I'll just say file new Maven project. I'll say demo 3. And here I'll say click on finish. And here I'll say department employee, I'll copy here. Only thing is, here I will not have like this. I will not have set methods for any property or only for constructor. Okay, set methods I allow for other properties, only for constructor and only for department I'm telling you. So public employee, I'll say department, and I'll say here this dot department is equal to department. Now I removed the setter method, but only get method will be there. But I can read from get method, but instead of set method, I'll have constructor like this. Okay, now this is the constructor. Constructor taking. Okay. Constructor taking department. Okay, department object as argument. We call this as an argument. Okay, constructor argument. Taking as a constructor argument. Now, just copy this. And here I'll copy this XML file. And what I'll do is instead of property name, this one, what I'll do is I'll remove this. Now I'll say constructor arg name equal to department. Ref equal to department. So instead of property name, we'll say like this, constructor arg name equal to department, ref equal to department. So what this mean, you will tell me. Take this XML file. Okay. Now take this employee class, taking this constructor. Now what will happen now? When application context is creating, so now this will look like, so in the employee class constructor, okay, the employee class constructor, the argument name or the argument name department, refer the bean ID department and inject that bean. Now see what it is doing. See, constructor argument name department. This is the argument name, right? So this is the constructor argument name. So this should match with this. For this, what has to be passed? It will search for the bean ID with this value. Search for search for the bean ID with this value. Is there any bean ID with this value? Yes, this bean ID is there. So this is matching. So then, so that means this object. So this object is injected here. That means this dot department is pointing to this object. So that means constructor argument name. So this name. So this name should match here. So for the argument name, this is an argument. Okay, we call this as an argument. Okay, this is an argument name and this is the argument type actually. Okay, for the argument name department, refer the bean ID department. That means this one, and inject that bean. Refer this bean ID department and inject that bean here. Only the difference between that one and this one is there it is calling the setter method and here it is calling the constructor. There we say property name. Here we say constructor argument name. Everyone clear? Everyone clear with this? Any doubts till now? Any questions till now? What happens if we give a different name to constructor? Yeah, we'll see. So if you give a different name to constructor, suppose I'll give DEPT. It will tell that it will give an error. You see, I did not write here, right? I think I have to write. I'll add pom.xml also, this dependency. So run as. So you got an error, you see. Okay, here you should give Spring Core Demo 3. Package is changed. You got a different error. It is Spring Core Demo 3 package. Now you got an error, you see. Error creating bean with employee defining class path resource. Unsatisfied. You to specify the correct bean references as arguments. Okay. Any questions till now? Everyone understood? Second program uses set method. Second program uses setter method. I mean, this program uses constructor method. In set method, what we have done? We have used property name. In the constructor, what we have done? Constructor arg. I'll stop here session. We'll see tomorrow. All right then. Okay, I'll stop the session here. Okay then. Okay then. So tomorrow we'll meet. Okay. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Yeah. I'll upload all these notes. Okay. Sure then. Thank you all.